Yeah, Assalamualaikum. Greetings, everyone. This is week 6. Okay. Next week is your semester break. All right. So anyway, I'm not gonna take that much of your time because there's just I think only around um 3 things to discuss today. All right. But anyhow, I like to remind you or recap on the things that we have learned last week on the week 5. All right. So last week, we talked about how to analyze the criteria and structures of a job application letter. And then we talked about how to identify the structure and components of a job application letter. And last but not least, we talked about identifying the errors in the job application letter and improving your letter based on the errors found. All right. So this job application letter is your cover letter. All right. So when you send in your resume, you will have to send it with a cover letter. And take note that each cover letter is different. You cannot send a generalized cover letter to all of the companies that you are applying for a job, all right? Because each of the cover letter has to be, in a way I can say, customized, right? To fit the job application that you are applying for. Okay, for example, if you're applying to be a pharmacist, if you have the apa dia, qualifications or degree in it, okay, so your particular cover letter has to include details about how you wanted to be a pharmacist, how you can contribute to the company, etc., etc. But the rest of the cover letter can have the same structure, just that the part where you are, trying to promote yourself to the company, and that is where you have to tweak a little bit. Tweak means change a little bit, all right? Okay, now, I'm not gonna go that much into detail about what we learned last week because I provided you with the recording already. So if you have any issues, you can just ask me. All right. So again, I'd like to remind you that last week and this week's topic are all about job application letter to help you complete your portfolio 1. And by now, I hope you're done with your job application letter, the draft part. Okay, draft means just the rough, um, just a rough outline on how your job application letter would look like. And by the end of this week, I hope you will have enough knowledge already on how to write a proper job application letter. Okay, all right. Sorry. Okay, let's go to here. All right. So this week, okay, we're gonna continue where we left off, still under job application letter. So this week, we're gonna look at the writing techniques. Okay, so first things first, we're gonna look at how to use present perfect tense and reader-centered writing in writing a job application letter. So what is present perfect tense and what is reader-centered writing? Okay, so we're gonna learn about that. And then and then we're gonna look at incorporating the use of persuasive language. Persuasive means you're trying to persuade the hiring committee to accept your application. So how to be persuasive but not in a weird way, okay? And last but not least, we're gonna look at how to draft your job application letter, okay? All right, so let's get to it. Now, before I forget, you have to complete your ICR worksheet 6. The deadline is latest by this Sunday, so please complete your ICR worksheet 6. And then by this week, actually, you have to submit your task 3, your job application letter. But I think I'm going to extend it a little bit until 2nd of May. All right, so you have, I think, 2 days extra to complete the job application letter. So I'm going to extend it until Monday next week, okay, just before Hari Raya, but I hope you can finish it a lot earlier lah. All right, so anyway, please remember you have to submit your ICR worksheet 6. This one, the deadline is on Sunday. This one, your task 3 for portfolio 1 job application letter. I'm going to extend the deadline until Monday next week. All right. So this one also you have to submit via Putra Blast. Okay. All right. So, okay, let's get to it. So we'll be using the same class material 3. Let's see. Before I go any further, I like to just mention, okay, what are the key points that we will learn today. Number one, we're going to look at the criteria of a good job application letter or cover, mainly known as cover letter. Okay, and next we have looked at the structure and components of a job application letter last week, and then how to review and revise your job application letter, and then how to write your cover letter or job application letter using present perfect tense or reader-centered writing. And last but not least, how to use persuasive writing in your job application letter. Okay, all right, so let's get to it. Okay, so let's talk about the language focus, present perfect tense. Okay, what is present perfect tense? I think you've heard of this when you were in school. I think, and I hope your teachers back in school have taught you about present perfect tense. Okay, right. So if you can see here, okay, in the discussion box here, you have two sentences. I have studied in University Putra Malaysia, and another one is I studied in University Putra Malaysia 2 years ago. It seems similar, but it has two different functions. So what do you think? What is happening right now? I have studied in University Putra Malaysia, and I studied in University Putra Malaysia 2 years ago. So the sentences above use two different types of tenses, as you can see. So when do you use present perfect tense, and when do you use simple past tense, and which one is simple past tense and which one is present perfect tense? Do you know? Okay, I have studied in University Putra Malaysia is the present perfect tense. When I say I studied in University Putra Malaysia 2 years ago, as you can see very clearly here, this is simple past tense. And like I said, these two tenses have two different functions. Okay, let's see. What are the different functions here? Okay, let's see. Okay, so present perfect tense, it refers to an action or state. Okay, a state ni condition lah, that either occurred at an indefinite time. Indefinite means we do not know specifically when, okay, in the past. Okay, for example, if I say I have studied in University Putra Malaysia, okay, or began in the past and continued to the present time. That means, okay, when I say I have studied in University Putra Malaysia, I'm telling you that I did this. Okay, I enrolled at University Putra Malaysia some time ago, but I didn't mention specifically which year. Maybe it could be in 2017, it could be in 2018. I didn't mention it specifically. And what I'm trying to say is when I use present perfect tense, I meant to say that this is something that happened in the past, berlaku pada masa yang lalu, but is still continuing to the present time. Masih lagi valid today. Alright, that means I am still a student at University Putra Malaysia. So that is what I'm trying to, the message that I like to send across when I use present perfect tense. Okay, simple past on the other hand, okay, nama dia simple past, okay, happened at a specific time. That means you know specifically when it happened. So when I say I studied at University Putra Malaysia 2 years ago, that means you know lah when I enrolled at UPM. I enrolled at at UPM in 2020. So this is specific. You know already when. And then is a finished action. That means I have graduated already. I am no longer a student at UPM. And this is why I use simple past tense. Okay, so that's different. Again, present perfect tense means, okay, it happened in the past. Sama. It's similar like simple past tense. Both happened in the past. However, present perfect tense means you do not know when it happened or occurred at an indefinite time. You do not know when. But simple past tense, on the other hand, you know specifically when. When I say 2 years ago, you tahu lah, 2020. And then another difference between present perfect tense and simple past tense is the fact that present perfect tense refers to action that is still through today, continuing today. But simple past tense is already finished, done. Okay, so you're not gonna see it anymore now. That is the two most obvious difference between the two tenses. Okay, I hope you understand. Okay, the function of these two tenses. Okay, let's see the next one. Okay, so in this activity, right, okay, it wants you to analyze the errors in the paragraphs below and to correct them using the suitable tenses, either present perfect tense or past tense. Okay, let's see this one first. So it says, furthermore, in order to handle the job, any tasks given to me can surely be fulfilled as I equip myself with valuable knowledge and skills to work as sport and recreation assistant. For example, the certificates I received based on the first aid and basic outdoor recreation skills training I attend in 2018 may highlight my ability in doing the job. So if you have a trained eye and you're familiar with the English language, from the first reading alone, you can spot a number of errors in terms of the tenses used. Dia macam a mix of tenses. Ada yang present perfect, ada yang past tense, ada yang sepatutnya past tense tapi tak past tense. So those are the errors that we're looking for, and this should not be the case in your job application letter. You might be saying, oh, they wouldn't check, they will, okay? Because sometimes, for example, if you're applying for a job that requires you to deal with the computer, write reports, write letters to, other companies and whatnot, they will be looking for someone who has a good writing, good writing skills, especially in English. Okay, so perhaps they can already assess you from your cover letter. Actually, they can already see, oh, this person can write good letter. So perhaps they are going to give you a chance to to go for an interview based on the cover letter alone. However, if you write sorry to say this, a bad cover letter with a lot of errors all around, so that might decrease your chances of being selected for the interview process. Okay, so that's why it's very important to take note of the tenses that you're using in your job application letter as well as your resume. But right now we're focusing more on the cover letter. Okay, let's see what are the errors. Okay, so the errors here is this one. I have equipped. In the original text, it says I equip. So this is wrong. Okay, so you cannot use simple present tense here. This is not something that is happening right now. This is something that you have already equipped and you still have the skills today. So benda ni kamu dah ada dulu, you already have it. Perhaps when you were in high school, when you were studying at the university, so you have equipped it. So this is present perfect tense. Okay, present perfect. Present perfect tense. All right. Okay, next. Myself with valuable knowledge and skills. For example, the certificates I received based on the first aid and basic outdoor recreation skills training I attended. Okay, so kenapa kita guna simple past tense? Because this happened in 2018. There's no continuation from the training today. All right, so you finished the training in so you finished the training in 2018. So you use simple past tense. Okay, so it's not that difficult for you. It's a matter of understanding the context. Okay, are you trying to say something that happened in the past and still continuing today? If that's the case, then you have to use present perfect tense. If you're talking about something that has already been completed, for example, the fact that you studied at UPM 2 years ago, so that needs to be written in simple past tense. Itu saja. Okay. So kalau dalam bahasa Melayu dia senang sikit lah. You wouldn't have to worry about the tenses. Okay. I think it's much easier. All right, but in English, these are the things that you need to worry. Like, okay, not worry lah. I mean, need to take into consideration when writing a formal letter such as this. Okay, all right. So let's look at the next one. Okay, number 2, your organization should see me as an outgoing person as I enjoy doing volunteer works. I volunteer for bird count every month at in Sri Serdang since I was in the university. Plus, multiple research regarding birds are done by my research team. When we do our final research project during my undergraduate study, and hopefully the knowledge I have based on the research we did can help in improving the city. Again, a number of errors here. Okay, it's a mixture of many tenses that's not supposed to be there in the first place. Okay, so when you are writing your statement such as this, you have to know the context of situation. So let's see. So it says, supposedly here, you should say, I have volunteered. Okay, sebab apa? Kenapa kita tak guna I volunteered? Why do you have to use I have volunteered? Okay, because of the phrase every month. So this is something that is ongoing. Okay, ongoing ni maksudnya macam selalu terjadi lah, selalu terjadi. It is happening always, always happening. So it happened in the past and still ongoing today. That's why you have to say I have volunteered, not I volunteered. Kalau you kata volunteered, I volunteered, that means you tak boleh guna every month. You cannot say every month because this is past tense. But because you say, because you say every month, that's why you have to say use present perfect tense. Okay, I have volunteered for bird count every month. Okay, next. Plus multiple research regarding birds were done. Okay, kenapa were? Because this was done in your study years as a university student. That's why you have to use past tense. And because here you used past tense, so the second verb that you see in the same sentence should be in past tense as well. So instead of saying we do, it should be we did. Okay, past tense. Kenapa kita guna past tense and not present perfect tense? Because of this phrase, during my undergraduate study. So that is to indicate that you're no longer an undergraduate. Undergraduate ni degree student lah. Okay, so you're no longer an undergraduate, you have graduated. So kenalah guna past tense because you're no longer a student. That's it. Okay, so it's not that difficult pun. It's just a matter of understanding the context. Okay, if you could understand the context of the situation that you are trying to write, then it will be easier for you to decide which tense should you use, either present perfect tense or simple past tense. Okay, all right, next. Okay, I recently graduated from University Putra Malaysia with a Bachelor of Accountancy. So what do you think? The first sentence is already wrong. Recently, baru sahaja graduated. So here, this is an error. You cannot say I recently graduate. Okay, right, next. Throughout the 4 years of studying, I gained a lot of knowledge related to the field, for instance, MIA, MIQC, etc., as that knowledge is required by both local and international accounting bodies. Moreover, I expose myself to get used to work environment as I opt to work as an accounting assistant on a part-time basis. Okay, so what's wrong with sentence number 3? Okay, like I said, the first error is the word graduate. So you tak boleh cakap I recently graduate. It should be graduated. Why past tense? Because this is a finished action. Okay, next. I gained. Okay, I gained. Bukan I gained. Because this is something that happened already back in your years as a student. All right, so I gained a lot of knowledge related to etc. etc. And then moreover, I have exposed myself because why? Kenapa I use present perfect tense and not simple past tense? Okay, understand the context of the situation. Okay, on a part-time basis. That means this is ongoing today. dia masih lagi bekerja part-time. Alright, so that means this is an ongoing process, exposing himself to work, sorry, to get used to work environment. Okay, alright. As I opted. This is a decision made some time ago. So you cakap past tense. Alright. Okay, next. Okay, your company will surely be benefited by hiring me, as I have valuable experience in dealing with foreign clients. In my previous work experience, I managed to close a huge deal, contributing to the large amount of profit for the company. Apart from that, in order to boost my confidence and help to communicate with my foreign clients, I undergo a number of foreign language classes in 2018. Again, number of errors with regards to the tenses. Okay, let's see. Okay, so here your company will surely be benefited by hiring me, etc., etc. Okay, in my previous work experience, sorry, I managed to close huge deals, contributing. Okay, managed. Why do I say managed and not I have managed? Okay, look at this phrase. My previous work experience. All right. Great. All right. So I managed to close huge deals. Apart from that, in order to boost my confidence and help to communicate with my foreign clients, I have undergone. Okay. So why do I use present perfect tense? Okay, understand the situation at hand. It says since 2018. So that means this is not done yet. You registered for the course in 2018 and you're still going through, you're still attending the course today. That's why you say I have undergone. And this is present perfect tense. Okay. So what I'm trying to say is that it's not wrong for you to use a number of tenses in one paragraph. Tak ada masalah. But so long as you understand the context or the situation, and then you can decide lah what kind of tense should you use instead. All right. So if you understand, then there will be no problem with you writing any essay for that matter, not just this one. All right. Okay, next. Okay, now let's talk about reader-centered writing. Okay, what is reader-centered writing? What do you think? Okay, so as the name suggests, reader-centered writing, that means, okay, when you write reader-centered articles, you will write with thinking about the readers in mind. Who are your readers? Okay, in this case, me lah, I'm going to read your letter, but for futures, in your case, later on when you graduate, after you have graduated, you will be writing to a number of companies, okay, especially to the hiring committee. So when you write your cover letter or your job application letter, you need to write with having your readers in mind. So you kena tahu siapa audience you, who are your audience, okay? So, and then when you think more about it, you will feel more and you will give more in your writing, okay? And then also you have to make sure that when you write this, you have to write something that is persuasive, something that, you know, that might just change your reader's mind as well. So you are trying to be, in a way, persuasive. You're trying to make sure that your readers get what you're trying to say or the message that you want to send across through your writing. And that is reader-centered writing. Okay, why is it important? Because you have to make sure that, you know, your job application letter is understood well by the hiring committee. So bila you tulis guna reader-centered writing instead of author-centered writing, for example, you are how do I say this? You are telling the readers, okay, in a way that they could understand it better. Macam, you know, it suits the reading or their liking. Okay, so bila diorang baca tu, they feel like, oh, I want to read this. I want to understand what this person is trying to say, because you are writing you are using reader-centered writing. Okay, so when you are about to use a reader-centered writing technique, okay, make sure number one, you have to put your readers first. Like I said, think of your readers when writing. Kena fikir pasal your audience. You have to think about your readers when writing, okay? Because they are the one that you need to persuade. They are the one that you need to make sure that they understand the purpose of you writing this letter, okay? So for example, so always put your readers first, okay? So you can ask yourself this question, for example, what does the reader want? Okay, what does the reader of your letter want? And then how will this reader think and feel after reading this? Especially in your case, you want them to hire you lah. Okay, so you have to make sure the contents of your letter uh, is up to their liking lah. All right, it fits what they're looking for. For example, they're looking for this type of employee, etc., etc. So tell that in your letter. Okay, and next, it's important to be direct. So you don't have to meet around the bush and then writing lengthy letter just to make it sound more fancy. I know you don't have to do that. Okay, so be direct. Terus cakap. Immediately tell them. Okay, why are you writing them this letter? What do you want? Right? Tapi in a subtle and polite way. Right? So you have to understand readers such as the hiring committee, they deal with a lot of letters on a daily basis. Ramai yang apply nak kerja dekat situ. So they won't have time to read your lengthy letter. Kalau surat awak sampai 5-6 pages, do you think that they will read through the whole 6 pages of your letter? No. Okay. I can safely say no, they would. They will just look at the first page and then decide from there either to, proceed with your application or not. So be direct. Because why? Readers, okay, they want raw truth. I mean, they want the most direct information. Okay, so you tell who are you as an individual, who are you as an employee, what are you looking for, what are your expectation, what can you um what I say, what can you contribute to the company. Tell them that is the info, that is the information that they would like to know. All right, so you don't have to get with the vague generalities or semantic duplicity or many sentences, for example, it depends, etc., etc., because they do not want to know that. They want to know direct and raw information. All right, okay, next. Okay. Make it interesting. So when you do reader-centered writing, of course lah, not just reader-centered writing, for all of your writing, you have to make it interesting. Okay, you do not want to bore your readers. Bore tu maksudnya macam buat kamu punya readers ni bosan. Bosan means writing a lot of unrelated sentences, too many sentences that are meeting around the bush. Meeting around the bush means something that you write about redundantly, ulang benda sama. So we don't want that. Okay, like I said, be direct and now make it interesting. Okay, so what it means to make it interesting, okay, essentially it means give your readers something to keep reading. Give your readers a reason for them to keep reading your letter. Okay, for example, if you go to a bookstore, kan, when you're choosing for a novel, okay, if you read novels, you would like to read a book that will keep you on the edge of the seat, a book that will cause you to read the next, like you can't wait to get to the next page, and that kind of book. So it's similar like your letter as well. Okay, so give them a reason to keep reading. And when you write, okay, imagine yourself like you're laying down a gold coin. So macam kita letak something precious lah for them to follow, a trail of something precious for them to go through your letter one by one. Okay, so in your letter, perhaps lah, okay, you can include examples. Okay, examples means your examples experience. Okay, your previous working experience. Maybe you want to talk about that. Okay. And then what else? Promises. Okay. In this particular letter, of course lah, you have to give some sort of a promise to the hiring company. Okay. So for example, if they hire you, what will you do? What can you contribute? What will you contribute to the company? Okay. So those are the things that you might want to include in your letter to keep your readers reading. Okay. All right. Next. Okay. And then give value. Give an added value to your letter. Okay. What does it mean to give an added value? Okay. What you have to understand is that when you are applying for a job, okay, what the hiring committee or what your readers want is the value that you have to offer. Okay. And they want to feel like they are rewarded for trading their time for your article. Meaning, dia nak rasa macam when they read your letter, it's worth the effort or the time given to read the letter. It's not something that, like I said lah, if you write too long of a letter or something that is mostly redundant, and then they will feel rather, what I say, bukan angry, rather oh my god, I forgot the word. Anyway, like it's a waste of time reading through the 6 pages of letter, and most of the parts are redundancy. Like you keep repeating the same point over and over again. If I am in the hiring committee as well, I wouldn't go past the first page if that is the case. Okay, so give them values. All right. Okay. So, for example, you can ask yourself this question: how can I give my reader even more? Okay, what can you say about yourself to make sure the readers want to read more of your letter? Okay, and not stop at the first page. All right. So, yeah, so that is reader-centered writing. Think about the readers first when you are writing. Okay, and also think on how can you sell your skills to the readers. Okay, you might say that, okay, we already have the resume. Yes, you have the resume, but the cover letter helps to, in a word, summarize these points in a more concise way. All right, so that's why cover letter and resume must come hand in hand. All right, okay. So anyway, now let's look at activity 6. Okay, read the samples below and analyze the language used. Okay, let's see. Dear Mr. Adam Zafrail, this is an application for programmer position. So like I said, before I forget, when you do your cover letter or job application letter, the letter must be customized to each of the application that you are applying to. Because each job, there are the different requirements and different way of you to sell your skills. Not all job will have the same skills. Am I right? Okay. So when you do your cover letter, again, remember, tak boleh hantar yang general. Dia kena customize a bit. I don't mean to change the whole structure of the letter. No, you can have a template. Okay, you can have the most general, but one basic template of cover letter, and all you have to do is whenever you are applying for a certain job, then you can just tweak the information a bit, just change the information a bit to fit the job that you're looking for. That's it. Okay. All right, next. So for example, this one, I am writing to apply for the programmer position. So this is the changes that I'm talking about. Okay. So you kena cakap, what are you applying for? You tak boleh cakap, I am applying for a job. Boleh, no problem. But it doesn't sound personalized to me. So you want to, include your soul into this job application letter so that they understand the urgency or how much you want this job. Okay. All right. And then I find the job specification listing in your advertisement interesting. I believe that my strong experience. So this is another change that I'm talking about. You can sell your skills. What are the skills that you have? And why should they hire you? And this is the part that you have to tell them that. And then you have to mention the information. Okay, so you have your resume, and then provide your information once more so that it's easier for them to call you if you get selected. And as well, your email address. So email address, like I said in last week, Jangan guna email address yang nama pelik-pelik, for example, doraemon@gmail.com. So that is unacceptable. You're applying for a job here, okay? Alright, so you're applying for a job, make sure it's all formal. So use your proper name. Okay, for example, your name is Khairi Amin. So you tulis khairi.amin@gmail.com. So this is an acceptable Gmail account name. Okay. Kalau you pernah tengok dekat Facebook pun, on Facebook pun, there's a lot of examples, the do's and don'ts when applying for a job, and you can see some of the applicants, they use really funny email address. So this is unacceptable. It shows who you are to the hiring committee. So you do not want to build that kind of impression. Okay. All right. Next. Okay, next. This is another cover letter. Okay, so dear Mr. Adam Zafrail, I'm writing to apply for the programmer position as requested. I'm closing a job application. Very interesting. If you have any inquiry, you can refer to my resume attached with the letter. You can reach me anytime via my phone number, etc., etc. Thank you for your time and consideration. I look forward to speaking with you. So what do you think? Based on the letters that you see here from applicant 1 and applicant 2. So if you are from the hiring committee, which one would you accept? Yang mana? This one or this one? Okay, so I would say sample number 2 from applicant number 2. Okay, not applicant 1. Okay, why? Kenapa? Okay, what are the differences between sample 1 and sample 2 in terms of the language and tone used? Okay, so cara kamu tulis pun ada macam ada point dia dekat mata hiring committee. So it's not a matter of just writing a letter just to be rid of it. No, you have to make sure when you write the letter, you put your soul into it because you're applying for a job here. Okay, ini bukan main-main punya. This is a job application letter. Okay, it will determine your future. So write well. So like I said, I would choose sample number 2. Okay, why? Because sample number 2 presents information from the employer's point of view. That means, okay, like I said, if you notice here, okay, the job specification listing in your advertisement is very interesting, and surely my strong experience, with a bachelor in computer science from University Putra Malaysia, the task given to me can absolutely be executed as well as I have full understanding on how to contribute positively towards a world-class company. Okay, let's see. Compare that to sample number 1. Okay, I find the job interesting. I believe that my strong experience and education background will make me a very competitive candidate for a position. I have a bachelor, Company says I have experience. I also have experience in learning and excelling in the new technologies as required. Okay, so as you compare here, okay, it doesn't, it's not that much of a difference between sample 1 and 2. Both are good. Okay, dua-dua okay, tak ada yang salah sangat pun. But in sample number 1, it's more talking about yourself. You do not really infuse your future employer punya essence into it. It's more of like you talking about yourself and what you have. Yes, you can do that, no problem. However, you have to make sure that you are trying to capture the hiring committee's attention here out of the many other candidates that have sent them their application letters. So how do you make your application letter stand out? And this is how. You have to make sure that you present information from the employer's point of view more. Okay, so you have to show what are the employer's benefits and emphasizes, okay, jelaskan on what the employer should know about the applicant. And besides that, the language used in sample 2 protects the employer's ego. Okay, And sample one, on the other hand, presents a more selfish tone. Like I said tadi, kalau awak betul-betul tengok sample one and sample two, sample one is more on the author or the applicant uh, being full of him or herself. Dia macam puji diri sendiri banyak sangat. So dia punya the connection with the employer is not quite there as opposed to sample number two. So in sample number two, you kena macam bodek sikit lah. You have to show lah. Okay, their company is great and that's why they need someone like you, things like that. Alright. And it shows no obvious benefits for the employers. So let's see again, kenapa? Okay, as you can see here, this one. I attached my resume for additional information on my experience as compared to this one. If you have any inquiry, you can refer to my resume attached with the letter. So kalau kamu compare ayat ni pun, okay, you have to have a trained eye lah for this. The first sentence from sample one, it's quite selfish. You macam cakap, ni resume, tengoklah from my experience, lebih kurang macam tu lah. It sounds very distant. You're not trying to connect with your future employer. Okay? It's like dia macam layan diri. Okay, tengoklah resume. Macam itulah saya punya experience. You can't. So you have to invite your future employer to look at your letter. For example, you say, if you have any inquiry, so in a way you are being polite. You are inviting the hiring committee to have a look at your resume. So dia macam lagi polite as compared to the sentence in sample one. So there's not that much of an mistake or error. Tak ada error pun sebenarnya. And you can write the letter in sample one, no problem. Tapi, okay, for your sake, and if you want to make sure that you sound polite and formal, I would suggest that you write this way. Sample number two. Okay, all right. So yeah, like I said, sample number one presents a more selfish tone because it is written from the applicant's point of view and it shows no obvious benefits for the employers. Okay, all right. So let's go to the next part. Now let's talk about persuasive language in job application letter. Okay, so if you can see the discussion there, it's asking you what is persuasive language and what is the effect of using persuasive language in a job application letter. So what do you think? What is persuasive? Or better yet, what is the root word of the word persuasive? Okay, persuade. Okay, so persuade ni dia macam, in Malay we call it pujuk. Okay, macam mana cara nak memujuk in a job application letter? Pujuk untuk apa? Persuade for what? To persuade your future employer to consider your application and accept your application. Better yet, accept your application. So that is the function of persuasive language. Okay. So what is the effect of using persuasive language in a job application letter? Okay, let's see. Okay, so like I said, persuasive language is a tool. Dia macam sejenis alat that you use to convince people. Who are these people? The hiring committee to accept your view or idea either in spoken or written discourse. Okay, discourse ni macam text lah. Alright, so persuasive can be either spoken or written. In your case, written. So when it is written, you have to be more formal. Okay, spoken pun sama, dia kena formal juga. Tapi kalau written lagi lah. Okay, alright, next. So what is the effect of using persuasive language in your job application letter? Okay, so the use of persuasive language, sorry, the use, sorry. Okay, the use of persuasive language in a job application letter will help to convince the prospective employer, your future employer, to even consider hiring you. So it will give an extra effect and expresses your personality, gaining effect, and expresses your personality more based on the information you included in the letter. So in a way, persuade ni macam you pujuk someone, you know, bacalah surat saya, bacalah. Okay, things like that. Alright. Okay, so let's go to the next part. Okay, list down the suitable persuasive language expressions that you can use in a job application letter. Remember, you have to be formal. So you cannot say things like, please read my application letter. Please consider my application. I have 2 cats to feed. And then I just moved to a new house. Things like that. And those are not language expressions that you should use in a letter. Okay, usually students during a final exam, kalau dulu-dulu lah, before PKP, you like to write a lot of things on your final paper. For example, please madam, saya tak tidur malam tadi. I receive a lot of funny and weird requests on the final paper. So same thing here, you cannot write those things. All right, it shows how immature you are. Okay, so you're about to be a grown up. You're applying for a job. Okay, so you have to start to grow up and be more formal, especially in this kind of situation. Okay, so again, okay, let's see what kind of persuasive language expression should you use. Okay, for example, benda-benda macam ni. For example, I am writing this letter to inform you of my interest to apply for the programmer position in your company. That is how you write your letter. Or you can say, certainly my experience, my previous work experience in the particular field has helped me a lot to become a better person. So itu cara dia tulis, nak tulis, alright? Or in short, secondly, furthermore, okay, these are all considered, these are all transition signals. I am not sure if you still remember your LPA 2501 lessons or CEL 2103, but if you still remember lah, in those 2 courses, remember whenever you're writing an essay, you kena ada transition signals. So what are the function of a transition signals? Okay, other transition signals such as moreover, in addition, additionally, or to summarize, to sum up, secondly, thirdly, next. Okay, those are all transition signals. So what are their functions? General one. Okay, to show the movement from one point to another. Okay, for example, kalau saya kata macam ni, okay, first, I can do this. Second, I can do that. That means I am guiding you to my second point. Kalau saya tak ada secondly, people might think this falls under the first point. You get what I'm saying? Okay, for example, kalau saya cakap first, I can do etc. etc. That is your first point. And then if you do not have any transition signal to the second point, then people are going to assume the point that comes after, you know, the sentence I uttered just now is under the same point. But you do not want them to get confused that way. So you kena guna transition signal. So the general function of a transition signal is to indicate movement of point from point A to B, B to C, C to D, etc., etc. All right. However, you also have to understand that transition signals can be branched out into many other functions depending on the type of transition signal. For example, kalau saya kata furthermore, moreover, in addition, additionally, that means I am giving additional information under the same point. So saya nak tambah point yang sama dekat bawah point yang tadilah yang saya dah sebut. If I say, for example, in contrast, on the other hand, or words such as despite, in spite of, that means I am trying to deliver a contrasting message. Maksudnya, saya nak sampaikan message yang berlawanan. Those are the kind of transition signals that I should use. So, when you go back today, go and check again, okay? The function of each transition signals. And please, use them in your job application letter. Kena, wajib. Okay, it is compulsory for you to use it. So the movement of one idea to another will seem like you have a much more smooth transition from one point to another. Okay, so that's the function of transition signal. And then, for example, this one, I do believe that, or I strongly believe that. Itu kita panggil macam ayat yang persuasive, because you're adding adverb. You know adverb. Adverb means you're explaining the condition of your verb. Maksudnya bila kamu kata I strongly believe, that means you're telling your readers how much how much faith do you have in this. Okay, how much do you believe that you can do this, you can do that. So you're in a way you're persuading, you're being persuasive to the readers, and you're trying to convince the reader that you really can do this, you really can do that. Okay, all right. So inilah antara contoh-contoh persuasive language that you can use. Okay, next. Okay, so it wants you to fill in the blanks below with suitable persuasive language. All right, so ini dia punya format. First things first, you kena ada your address and your name, and then the date. Okay, date kena ada. Lepas tu the address of the company that you're applying at. Okay, lepas tu to whom, kepada siapa that you are addressing this letter. So if in the job advertisement, the name of the person that you should reach out is not mentioned, then you can simply say human resources manager. That is a general term lah for the hiring committee. All right, so you can say human resources manager, because usually this is the person who will be, sifting through the applications. Okay, so macam-macam mana pun kena ada addressee. Addressee means siapa yang kamu nak address the letter to. All right, so if you do not know the name, jangan tinggal kosong, kena ada something here. All right, and then the address of the company, and then the salutation wajib ada. So here, perhaps you can say dear sir, madam, miss. So if you do not know lah, who are you referring to? So perhaps you can say dear sir / madam / miss. All right, and then this is your the title of your letter. What is it about? Okay, this is an application for the post of a chemist. Okay, so this one I want you to complete on your own. All right, so I want you to complete this one. Okay, what kind of expression should you use here? Here, 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 and here. All right, so I don't think this is a difficult exercise. Sebab yang ini dia macam more on the logical side. Okay, what do you think should be the most appropriate expression for you to use here, here, and here, based on what we have learned so far lah. All right, so please complete activity 8. Now let's look at the next one. Okay, this is the last activity. Based on the sample job advertisement and sample resume given, write an outline for a job application letter in the space provided. After that, write a complete job application letter. Okay, so this one also, all right, this is like an exercise to prepare you or to, to better improve you for your own job application writing task. All right, so when you do this, make sure to incorporate the correct usage of tenses, okay, and then reader-centered writing technique, as well as persuasive language. So by the end of today's lesson, you would now have the complete, should I say, knowledge of how to write a good job application letter. So use the correct tenses, make sure it's reader-centered writing, and use persuasive language. So let's look at a sample job advertisement given here. Okay, so this is a job application for a marketing executive. Only one post, and then take note of the location. Are you able to travel to Kuching, or do you live in Kuching? If you live in Kuching, Sarawak, and then that's much better lah. All right. So you do not have to travel far. If you live in KL and you want to apply for this job, I think you should think twice before doing that, because this is something that you want to hold on to for a number period of time, unless you're in the government sector. Okay, this is not something that you can opt for. So for example, if you become a teacher later, kalau you government teacher, so you kena redha lah mana-mana dia hantar for the first 5 years tu. So usually if you're from Kelantan, they will send you to Selangor or Johor. That's what I got, okay? And if you're from KL, they will send you to the opposite direction. So, but kalau you are really lucky, then you will get near where you live, all right? But anyway, but in this case, because you're the one who are looking for the job, so you boleh decide lah, okay, is this location okay? Can I do this? Can I work here? If you feel that no, that's not okay, that's too far away from my family, so do not apply in the first place. Jangan apply suka-suka. Okay. All right. So next, look at the job responsibilities. What are you expected to do if you get hired? So look here and decide. Can you do all of this? Boleh buat ke tidak? Do not lie on your resume. Sebab kalau kamu dapat kerja and then suddenly they ask you to do this and you say, oh, I can't do this. I actually lied on my resume. You will be fired right away. Okay, dia nak orang yang boleh buat kerja ni, sebab tu dia list specifically what are the job responsibilities. Okay, so do not apply for a job just for the sake of wanting to have a job. Mana-mana pun jadi tak boleh. Okay, because it's going to it's going to eat you on the inside. Okay, so look at the location. Macam kita belajar last week, I think last 2 weeks good. Okay, look at the location. First, to look at the job responsibilities. Are you able to do this? Are you able to commit yourself to do this? If you can't, and then look at the job requirements next. So what are you expected to have? Maksudnya, what are the skills? What are the qualifications that you are required to have in order to apply for this job? Itu pun penting juga. So if you're trying to apply for a marketing executive, okay, but you do not have the basic knowledge or the basic qualification on marketing, advertising, communications, or public relations or administration, so think again before applying. Okay, sebab dia bila dia dah cakap macam ni, that means your work will relate a lot with this field of study. So kalau kamu punya degree dalam bahasa Inggeris, boleh, no problem, boleh. If you feel that you can learn about this field of study in your own free time, boleh. But like I said, think twice, because it might cause you a problem later. Okay, and then can you do designing? All right, can you do you have executing? Okay, do you have designing, executive, and tracking successful digital marketing punya teknik ni apa semua ada tak? Do you have these skills? So check. All right. So after you have done so and you think you are up for it, you know that you can do this job, and then you can just apply for the job. Okay. All right. So this is your sample resume. Okay, this is a very simple yet complete resume. Okay. So kalau saya jadi hiring committee pun, I would like to look at this kind of resume. It's very concise. It's very informative, but not lengthy at all. So this is very good. This is a very good example of a resume. So your resume should look something like that as well. Now, as for the picture, like I said, use a formal picture. Okay, for boys, you can wear shirts with collars. Okay, jangan pakai t-shirt. Ataupun girls do not wear. You can wear whatever you want actually, but make sure it looks formal. It seems formal. All right. If you're Muslims or if you're non-Muslim, boleh je nak pakai baju kurung. So I think it will seem much more formal that way. Okay, and if you're not wearing tudung, and perhaps you can tie up your hair like this so it looks more apa nama ni, neat and tidy. Jangan biar rambut you lepas, especially if you have a long hair, long and curly hair. I do not suggest that you put that picture up. Perhaps you wanna tie it onto, sorry, using a ponytail ke apa ke, alright? So it looks much more formal and neat and tidy. But if you have a smooth long hair, and that's okay lah kot. I don't think kalau you tak ikat pun dia nampak kemas. Tapi kalau you have a long curly wavy hair, don't. Okay. Alright, next. And then this is your career objective. Alright, name kena besar. You want to tell your readers ataupun your hiring committee, this is you. Okay. So what is your career objective? So tell them who you are as a person, as an individual, and as an employee. And then your contact information sangat penting kena ada so that they can contact you. Alright. Status ni tak letak pun tak apa. But if you want to be direct, you can just put your marital status, single, married. Okay. Reference. Okay, reference pun sangat penting. This is very important. Please do not use your father, your mother as your reference. Okay, these type of people are not acceptable. They kena someone with position, such as your former lecturer, your former supervisor, and those are the kind of people that you want to use as your reference. And then you can ada work experience lah, preferably. Sebab at this stage lah, supposedly you can ada work experience, at least you can ada macam part-time work experience. So you have to put it in there. Okay. But if you work a lot of part-time job, tak payah letak semua. Okay. If you put all of your part-time job experience dekat sini, then your resume will no longer look like this. It's going to be around 2 or 3 pages. So just put the work experience that's related to the new job that you're applying. Okay. And then your educational history, preferably, of course, you have to put lah your degree. What was your degree in? What was your diploma in? Lepas tu skills. Okay, skills pun penting. You have to mention what kind of skills do you have? Languages. How many languages can you do you speak or do you write? Okay. And then apa lagi? Okay, what kind of a person are you, etc., etc. Alright. Okay. So let's see. Let me stop sharing for a while. Okay. Okay. So this one, okay, we want you to write an outline first. Okay, what kind of a position are you applying for? Okay, so kalau marketing executive, tulislah marketing executive. Okay, source of job vacancy. Where did you find this job vacancy at? From a website ke? Or apa nama? From a poster ke? Right? And then what are your relevant academic qualifications? Maksudnya what degree are you, what field of study are you majoring in? What is your degree? What was your diploma? All right. So mention all of that. And then strengths. Strengths mean what are the skills that you have that fit the requirements of the job. Okay. And for example, kalau nak jadi marketing executive, apa job requirement dia? Apa strength? Apa skills yang you have? What are the skills that you have? So write them here. And then last but not least is your contact information. Very important. Kena ada. Remember, we have, if you look back at the sample letter here, okay, so you will have 3 different paragraphs. And each paragraph, like I said last week, we talked about this already. Setiap paragraph ada fungsi yang berbeza. So each paragraph will have a different function. So the first one is where you mention who are you, express your interest to apply for the job. Lepas tu, you know lah, bagi tahu lah sikit, alright? the general introduction to why are you writing this letter. And then second paragraph is where you promote the skills that you have, the language, but the education background, etc., etc. So this is where you promote yourself. And the last paragraph, the last but not least, is where you thank the person formally, for reading your letter. Lepas tu, you bagilah your contact information. So phone number dengan email address. Okay. So remember, in a job application letter, wajib ada you have to have these 3 paragraphs. One is where you introduce yourself. The second one is where you mention or promote your skills. And the third one is where you give your contact information. Okay. So what I want you to do now is for you to complete activity 9. So I want you to complete the outline. Lepas tu, write your job application letter. Okay. Now we'll share with you the answer next week before Raya. So you can have a look, see lah how a job application letter should look like. All right. Okay. So I want you to complete activity 9. Lepas tu tadi I suruh you buat yang mana dah? Activity 8. So activity 8 and activity 9. All right. So I think that's it. Okay, so because this is the last class before our semester break, so I'm gonna finish here. Maybe you can get started with your activity 8 and 9. All right, and submit latest by 10 p.m. tonight via WhatsApp group. All right. Okay, so I think that's it. Let me check. Okay, before I let you go, this one. I want you to complete, remember to complete your SL worksheet 6. The deadline is this Sunday. And then your job application letter is due next Monday. I'm going to extend the deadline. Okay. So both has to be submitted via Putra Blast. Now, if you have any questions, if you have any issues or concerns, please do not hesitate to ask. Okay, you can just chat me up via WhatsApp ke, email ke. So just ask. Do not just keep quiet until the end of the semester. Okay, so I think that's it. Okay, so thank you everyone.